Hey, everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli. It is Sunday, November 7th, I think. I've lost track of days like old men do. Just got back from a walk, that's why I'm kind of slathery and sweaty. And just got a new chair off the street. I'm very psyched about that. The beloved home team Denver Broncos went in and beat my least favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. And my friend Salem is here. Hey, where'd you go? Wait, come here. Oh, there she goes. Isn't she cute? Come here. Show everybody your beautiful face. I guess that's as good as we're going to get from Salem. Obviously, I don't have a topic. I do have one thing I want to talk about. Sometimes we talk about our brushes with greatness, and I know I've done that in the past. I've talked about working with Steve Sewell, who's a former Bronco and a super nice guy, and I've talked about people I've met through being in the movie theater business for a good chunk of my life, and I found out something that brought me down a little bit just the other day. I worked with this guy. This is back when I worked in the orthopedics field. I was a warehouse person. I would set up kits, like spinal kits, for spinal surgeries, also hips and knees. We did a lot of major orthopedic surgeries, and you need a warehouse to support that. And so that's what I did. I would prepare implants and tools that would go to the hospitals, be used in surgeries, get cleaned. Hopefully, a lot of times they were not cleaned very thoroughly. And sounds like she's throwing up. Great. and then we would reschedule and reorganize and replenish and keep doing surgeries. And so for a while I ran spine, which was great, and I thought I was going to continue to run that, and I kind of got screwed out of a job there, but that's another subject. Maybe I will end on it since I got 8 minutes to fill. But the first part I want to fill about that job was I got to run into some former Broncos there. A lot of these guys go into sales, and specifically medical sales, because they understand a lot of the physical body because they've gone through it. There's one guy named Scott Curtis, a really nice guy. He didn't have much of a career, but he did play with the Broncos. I don't know if he was ever actually on the team. He might have been. I know he tried out, and I think he may have been like on the practice squad. Well, it was probably back in the 90s. And I came to realize how big these guys actually are. I mean, this guy was just a wide receiver, and you think of them, they're not the biggest guys on the field, and this guy was big. I mean, he was probably about 6'2", 220, and all muscle, super nice guy. I think he went to Boston College, if I remember right, and he was just a cool dude. And then another nice guy, this is the guy I really wanted to talk about, his name was Frank Wainwright. Had a pretty good career in the NFL, 10-year career. He was a tight end. He grew up in Peoria, Illinois, and then he ended up coming here to this neck of the woods for his senior year of high school. He went to Pomona. For those of you that don't know, Pomona is over here in Arvada. Pretty nice school, well-renowned school. And yeah, so he lived, I want to say it's off 80th and Wadsworth, that area. It's kind of back in the suburbs there. And he went there, and then he went to UNC, University of Northern Colorado, where he was a tight end, and I think he perfected his long snapping skills, and then he had a 10-year career in the NFL. And I met that dude. Tight ends are big guys, and this guy was big, just the sweetest guy, super nice. And I got to know him pretty well because sometimes I would prepare his spine kits for surgeries on which he was a sales rep. What our guys did, and like Scott Curtis and Frank Wainwright and other salesmen did, is they didn't really go hard on sales, but what they had to do was know the product really well, and they would often be in the operating room with the doctor. If the doctor had a question about product, but this is a little scary too, isn't it? Where shouldn't the doctor know all this going in? I mean, they know they know the ins and outs, but if they had specific questions, our reps are there. They're in there. They got the masks on. They got the gloves on. They got they got the scrubs on, and they're there to answer questions if there's and maybe have to run out and grab something in an emergency situation, or have one of us come down. That's sometimes I would have to do that. I would have to drive an implant. Like it was like this guy had a weird wonky knee, and we thought we had the right parts for it. We need an extra part, and you need to get that down here. And so I would come down. I would give it to a person who was usually awaiting, and they would run it into the OR. They would somehow sterilize it, had some process, and they'd get it into the surgeon to pop it in this dude's knee, shoulder, hip, spine, wherever this part needed to go. It was really crazy sometimes. And so, like I said, these guys were there for that. I actually did, sorry, another sidebar about this. The place is called Summit Surgical, and it was a old company. It was two old companies that came together. One was Halmedico, the other was called Osteonics. They came together, and they eventually got bought out by Stryker. Now, if you're ever in a hospital room, you'll probably see something by Stryker, whether it's some sort of monitor or a bed. Stryker, and they ended up becoming Stryker Orthopedics, and I worked for them. For those companies and the combination of those companies for about 4 years. I was in their warehouse. And that's how I got to know Frank Wainwright. And like I said, super nice guy. And just to go over his NFL career really quickly, 10 years in the league and had some pretty good stories. He spent a few with the Dolphins. I can't remember exactly how many with each team, but he was with the Dolphins, the Saints, the Philadelphia Eagles, and then finally with the Ravens. And he was on the Super Bowl winning team with the Baltimore Ravens in the year 2000. And he had a little funny story about that, where he usually wore 84, and Shannon Sharpe went to the team that year. A lot of Bronco fans were not happy about him defecting to the Baltimore Ravens after he won a couple Super Bowls in the late 90s with us, and they took off for the Ravens. And he wanted his 84, and so the other guy that was wearing 84, I believe was Jermaine Lewis. He was a wide receiver, and then it was just a domino effect where Frank Wainwright ended up having to wear 88 because I think he was wearing 82, and Jermaine Lewis was wearing 84. I don't know. It's something like that. I'm stupid. I can't remember how the whole story went, but generally he was a little part of that story, which is kind of cool. He also said being a player in Philadelphia was terrifying. He said the scariest fans in the entire league. He said he played there and he was scared to come out of the stadium at the end of the day because fans were just animals there. I also mentioned when he was on the New Orleans Saints, and this had come out in the last 10 years, and this is some more cool stuff about him, but he said it was just like a punch bowl full of antidepressants, painkillers, just being served to you on the plane on the way home from like an away game, for example. He said it was amazing, and it was amazing how many heads turned the other way and didn't say anything. So after he retired, I think he came to us in 2002, right in the middle of my stint there. I was there from 2000 to 2004, and that's how I got to know him, and he told us all these cool stories, and then he ended up selling spine because it ended up he said one of his last plays as a player, he was running down the field because he was a long snapper. I didn't get to tell you that. That's how I think I said that early, but he was a long snapper. And long snapper, if you're a skilled long snapper, the guy who snaps to the punter or the kicker, you can really make a living in the NFL because good ones are hard to find and rare. And that's how he made his living for 10 years, by doing that and being a backup tight end. And so he was telling about his last play in the NFL, where it's hard to be a long snapper. You snap the ball, make sure it gets back to the punter. You wait a second. When you hear the ball kicked, you take off, and you may end up assisting in a tackle of the guy who receives the punt, and you are often just brutally blocked. And he said that this on probably his last play, 2 guys blocked him, and it was a night game. He ends up just laying there in pain, just looking up at the stars going, I can't do this anymore. I'm 32, 33 years old. I'm done. And then that's what kind of inspired him to sell spine, to make other people feel better. He had back issues, and he also fought issues with concussions, and he ended up, I think in 2014, he was like a former player representative, and started this whole concussion protocol thing. It was partially on him and other former players that were dealing with horrific injuries in their retirement years. And so he ended up, due to his back injuries and his concussion issues, ended up spearheading a great movement that has us doing concussion protocols during the game and taking care of players. Now, I mention all this because I found out, because I was looking him up to see what he was up to, and I found out he died 5 years ago. He has a Wikipedia page. Once again, his name's Frank Wainwright, and it really bummed me out. And I don't know if it was complications. I didn't really say a lot about his death. Although he did have a lot of depth as a human being, which is great. He's an amazing man, but they didn't really say what killed him, and I hope it wasn't football-related injury. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter in the end, and in the end he didn't make it to 50, which is a bummer, because like I said, just an all-around great human being. I just wanted to tip my hat to Frank Wainwright. I wish I could have known you better, and I wish you could have lived longer. So thanks to you, Frank Wainwright. I hope the football gods and any other gods are smiling upon you. All right, talk to you soon, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.